Hello, my friends. Today's Sunday, right? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
There you go. Happy Sunday, guys.
Happy Sunday. Wonderful. We figured it out. We got it.
Yeah, I hardly ever know what day is what in reality. As Cindy's trying to untangle wires here with the speaker. There we go. So we got Mark in the house. We got Ray as well. And we have that sassy one.
Yeah, she is a sassy one. Watch out for you. Watch out for her, you guys. Oh, and there's Mike T. And we're filling up, and this is a really, really good thing. It's actually a really beautiful day here. Absolutely gorgeous here today.
It is gorgeous and probably 110.
Yeah. Well, it's gorgeous when you're looking out the window.
Yeah, and the AC's going.
Yeah.
So we got Kim Miller and we got Heather Cole as well.
It's wonderful to see you guys coming in. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, and we got, who's that? Karma K, namaste. Namaste to you too. Digital Soldier 17. Hello. Hi.
Yeah, so we have Joe Free in the house, Paul Winkler as well, Paige, Denise, good to see you as well. Joseph says, kind of early for a stream. Yeah, we're just trying to slip it in where we have time, because we've been so busy just helping others with energy work, and so we had time and we had things to talk about, so we decided to let's get up and let's get this going. There's messages coming through, I think there's something in the air. Do you guys feel it,
There's this dense overlay in the air. It's like this collective energy of darkness that's weaving itself together in the ether. It's just yucky.
Yeah, it is. It is. There's definitely these energies afoot. As we've been talking about, energies of division that's just trying to split everything up into little pieces. As we have Ravens joining us, Joseph Benson as well, Denise Marie Rosewar, Jeff Kofer. It's a beautiful 85 in Colorado, strange days. MKR, good to see you. Hope all is well over there in San Fran. Digital Soldiers.
Yeah, this is wonderful. The room is filling up. Absolutely wonderful.
And Arizona Raven, Julio is here as well. So, yeah, I mean, if you watch the news and everything, you could see what's going on. There were very disconcerting videos of large amounts of armed people marching together. It is like all crap is going to be breaking loose, or is breaking loose. And thank you, Benjamin. 1111. Let's get this angelic restart going. That's what we need, right?
Yes, we need the alignment. Thank you so much for your support.
Yeah. Wad Girl says, feeling it. Everything seems to be being exposed at once, and there's pushback from the ones that don't want to see. I ordered 1900, The Last President, and it shipped, and they didn't deliver it, and they sent it back to Amazon, which was really bizarre, and it's kind of crazy. And I also had some prayer beads that broke, and so ordered those, and they ended up doing the same thing where they didn't ship. They shipped it from Amazon, but then it went to the normal channels, but then somehow it got sent back, and really felt like that was the darker forces not wanting both us getting new prayer beads and also not wanting to see that book. So then I ended up getting the complete works of the author that does the Barron Trump books. And he also wrote 1900, The Last President, which I'm going to do a video just talking about that shortly, maybe in the next couple days. Because, it's very coincidental that this guy writes a book called, The Adventures of Baron Trump in these times. And then also wrote a book about the last president, which after reading it, it hits me like, wow, this looks like it's very prophetic. And it's probably foretelling what's in the plans or something pretty close to what's in the plans.
Definitely. It feels like there's a lot of gold nuggets in there. If one were to really comb through with a fine-tooth comb, I'm sure we could find a lot more stuff. But, just kind of glancing at it, there's parallels that are really interesting.
So, let's take a few moments. And our brother Joffrey says, very emotional time for me, emotional swing one way than the other. Not to share anything personal, but, Joffrey's a beautiful family member. We love him dearly. And, he's definitely going through some tough times right now, as are so many people. So we're sending love to you, brother, and light your way. And then Heather Cole, was it Heather? Deborah, right. Deborah says, please send positive energy my way. I've been sober for 6 months, but the temptation is coming down on me. So love, light, and strength to you as well, Deborah.
Definitely. And before you do anything, just try to play the tape out in your mind of how things would work out. So that's just a little more of a deterrent. And definitely hang on. You'll be okay.
So Digital Soldier, I did get a copy, the complete works of Ingersoll. I forget what his name is. I left the book in the other room. And it's really very curious how this book describes, and it's so tempting to go right into it in detail, but we have other messages we want to give you too. But it does describe this quote-unquote last president coming in, and there being massive protests, blood in the streets, what we're seeing right now going on, him being very controversial, trying to repeal the Banking Act of 1871, getting the country, Ingersoll Lockwood is the author's name, trying to get the country back on the gold standard and actually trade in silver, and going against the bankers. And, it's interesting because it does parallel, not exactly, but in many ways, in a general term, what we've seen with the Trump administration, where, again, some people absolutely love him, adore him. Other people hate him, can't stand him. And ultimately, in the book, it makes it so that, it's an irrevocable march to civil war. That cannot be stopped because people are just so divided. There's no way the union can be maintained. And so, it ends up with, basically the end of the Capitol and things in flames. And that's kind of the bottom line. I think we could see it. I think it's just so clear now. And I've always felt this was part of their plans. I always felt that we would, see the civil disturbance, and then when the country's in turmoil, actually, kind of fighting within and having that civil war, that then we would be very, very weak and vulnerable, and that's when the big world war would really take hold.
It feels like it's happening in little increments. They're really disturbing the bottom stuff, which is us, as far as making it difficult to go to work, or making it difficult to bring in money, getting laid off. A lot of things they're making really difficult on our souls, and I think that's just going to kind of inflame everything.
Yeah, it's just the division. It's something that it just doesn't seem like it's going to be possible to keep it together, because we are so completely, when you look at it, the political divide has never been bigger. I really don't think it's ever been bigger. As Mary says, we're going through the dark night of the soul right now. Most definitely, dark night of the soul material. And, the stress on so many people, everybody really, is just tremendous. So, again, we were talking about the need to prepare in every way we can, mentally, physically, spiritually. We did do a channeling, Cindy did, with her higher self, And last night, well, really last night into this morning, she was actually channeling the Galactic Federation, was coming through and saying a lot of the same stuff. It's very much upon us, so we need to be ready for it. And yet we need to be working really on building our own ties with each other. And we need to be getting out of the system. We need to be working in smaller communities together and coming together as well as we can. And at some point in time, we will probably, as we've been saying, we're going to lose the grid. We're going to lose the ability to communicate with those of us that are, friends across the whole world here, and of a common mind. So then it's going to be more like those ties that you have built up in your local community that are going to be so critical for everybody.
Very important to, make friends locally where you're at, and start at that level, and actually it kind of starts with your personal responsibility for yourself, and then it can branch out from there.
Yeah, Seven Sun says most people live in cities. Yeah, I'm not sure what the exact breakdown is, but again, the cities are going to be very, very difficult, and it's going to be the toughest in the cities, but it'll have its challenges everywhere. Of course, if you are a farmer or if you're a homesteader and you're somewhere and you're already all set up, off the grid and you got everything that you need going, then your challenge might be to hang on to it. Hang on to it in these times where we're going to see some of the darker aspects of humanity come out, which you can see if you just, look at the news. There's unfortunately horrible things going on all the time. There was a random shooting yesterday with a little 8-year-old that got shot in a car. Again, these roving gangs that just try to stop people. And it's just crazy. It's nothing but purely demonic energies that are at work here.
Yeah, definitely. And they have our number. They know how to work us too. They've done this before and they're doing it again. And I think the most important thing is to hold on to yourself.
And avoid, again, anything that's going to lower your vibrations. That is one of the key things. Avoid lowering your vibrations. And so, I understand it could be difficult to talk about these things that we're talking about, but I really think that it's imperative that we are as ready for it as we can be, because it's the same thing with what we've seen already. How many people were really prepared to be locked down? How many people had 6 months or a year's worth of food sitting there? Not that we needed to roll through all that food right now, because as we know, lockdowns were eased, but then now it seems like they're getting tightened again. And it'll probably get tighter to a completely different level, and with what we're going to be seeing coming.
Yeah, they have other stuff up their sleeve. They're just waiting to introduce it.
Yes, and as we see here, we can defeat them by being fearless. Have the highest in your heart, and you have nothing to fear. Most definitely, and I am one that does believe that we have lived before, and I've had glimpses of past lives. So, I don't think that, this is it. And, don't really fear death in that way. It's more of a matter of, I view it as, carrying out your mission in this life, learning the things that you need to learn in this life, and, working on becoming a better person in service to others, as, the Law 1 talks about. I think that helps us to spiral upwards and out of, the constant karmic retribution that keeps us into the, going through life after life without, really learning our lessons. I think that's really what it's more about.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And they're trying to change our focus and get our focus off of what is most important by creating all this chaos around us.
So Mary watched the Phil Schneider presentation this morning reptilians, what they feed on, all coming together. Yeah, most definitely, because that's, and it's 11:11 right now as we're doing this. That is most definitely one of the biggest things that we are fighting. And so I'm going to start with this message that Cindy just got. So we will play that for you guys.
Do we have a connection?
We have a connection with higher self.
And what is it that you would like to share?
We want to talk about the world having more compassion. Times are very difficult right now for everyone. Your neighbors are having a difficult time. Your friends, mothers, brothers, sisters. And we feel that we need to bring in more compassion to help raise the vibration of this situation with war coming. We need to raise our vibration up and out of harm's way.
When you say war, do you mean civil, or do you mean war between countries?
There's going to be civil war. There is going to be war between countries. There is going to be war between people, as above, so below. It's unfolding now.
A lot of people, including us, the last several nights have had very, very disturbing dreams. Is this messages from our higher selves?
Yes, this is the higher self collective of Cindy. There's many of them here right now who want to express their concern about the growing energy of hatred and the energy of anger. These energies are trying to wash out the energies of love and compassion. We cannot let that happen.
Besides the obvious things, what else would you recommend?
I would recommend that you go deeper within and find out where is the war coming from within you. We are the ones bringing this about with the timelines. We have the ability to change it. We have the ability to rise above it, but only if we go within and search deep. Where are we fighting with one another inside?
So there's what we would call a cabal, a group of people that orchestrate so many of these dark events that then roller coaster and spiral out of control. How do we overcome their efforts?
Just as the cabal does everything in secret, people need to band together in secret in ways to override the system. People need to gather and get along and cheat the system, if you will. The system is going to continue to use you. The system is going to continue to send out spies to tattle on you. Humans are going to continue to hurt each other. We need to make the decision to stop. To stop all the hurting, to stop all the tattling.
Yeah, there are those that are of that mind and that heart, and then there are so many that are just so mired in their hatred and in their prejudices and in their own personal illusions of one side being right and another side being wrong. The question would be, how can we overcome that blind hatred that exists and those powers that be that are always inflaming the situations? So would you be recommending, banding together in small groups and starting communities and just bartering and trading and getting out of the monetary system and things like that?
First, we need to find our compassion for these people that are doused in hatred and pain and hurt. Find your compassion for them. Understand that they are acting out of misguidance, misinformation, or a series of traumas throughout their life. Once you find that, then you will start finding others that are like you, that you can band together with and work through the system with these other beings. Change the rules, change them yourself, take it upon yourself, but always do it out of love and compassion.
So again, in these times where we see, so many people are separated, so many people are of like mind, but separated by great distances. We can definitely affect change through intention, but it feels like we are going to be faced with dangers in cities, in many places, just because of the wild, crazy energies unleashed. And then with the war and, the wars starting, again, it feels like the safest place would be somewhere with like-minded people as much as possible.
With your communities, wherever you are at, people will begin to band together on their own. Right now, you have communications to help band people together that are hundreds of miles apart. Use these communications, for when they go down, you will still have the energies of these other peoples to work with and band together, energetically helping one another.
You speak of civil war and war between countries. What will come first as far as in the United States? Will we see civil war before the United States engages in war with China, or China and Russia engage in war with the United States?
First, we're seeing the war within ourselves. Then we are seeing the war within our communities. And then we will be seeing the Civil War. Then you will be seeing world wars with China, with Russia. It's an escalation process. It needs to happen.
It's part of the Great Purging, so that the new world, the new era can come about.
Many people understand that things need to get worse before they can get better. The system must be broken down. That's happening in increments right now.
We got a download in the middle of the night from the Galactic Federation, again talking about the coming Civil War and to be safe and prepared. We're also talking about the splitting up of the United States, and that China and Russia had already a plan for splitting the United States.
We see the cross going through the United States. Some call it the cross of the eclipses. This is how they wish to break it up. If we follow this timeline and continue the way we are going, this is how it will be broken up. It's already written.
Will there be an election this year?
The cabal are doing everything they can to make a disruption. On this current timeline, there will not be an election. There will be an eruption of civil war. Everything will get halted. Right now, it does look like they do want your current president out of office. He's not making the exact decisions that the cabal wants. He is doing the best he can with what he has.
We had commented about how when he met with former President Obama and was briefed on things that first time, how President Trump looked almost sick. And it was mentioned, maybe he was given the knowledge of the real rulers of the planet, the Draco, the alien interdimensional presence. Was that it?
He was in close proximity of the Draco. This is very difficult for a human to be near a Draco energy. It afflicts them, it makes them physically sick. Upon this realization, he had to address the country. It was a difficult day for him.
So before that point in time, did he have knowledge of the Draco?
He had heard rumors, he had heard things, but he was not aware of this kind of control matrix that we are currently under, that we are trying to take apart without completely destroying ourselves. It's not an easy task.
And what force or group of people are behind President Trump, giving him power and support?
You have the Galactics. You have different You have different people, some of your military. Many are wanting to do the right thing, but they all understand what they're up against. Can you wake the channel?
Yeah, so that's where that ended. And then I had talked to Cindy and asked her, because she had seen extraterrestrials watching President Trump from behind glass. And I asked her what they looked like.
Yeah, that's similar to what they look like, and I'm not sure why they had to be behind glass, but they were behind glass watching him. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, so the tall whites, or what's commonly known as the tall whites, which we know have been seen, it's been said that they're there in Area 51, Area 6, the Nevada test site, amongst other places as well.
Yeah, they do. They feel like they're from all over, and it's some sort of a, another type of federation that's there. It's just a lot of the ones I don't know I don't know how to name them. I just see them there.
So definitely interesting, and in the middle of the night, it was the same thing. Laurel from the Galactic Federation came through and was just, again, stressing the fact that we are going to be witnessing both Civil War and also World War, which will end up being on U.S. soil at some point in time. And just stressing that we, again, have to prepare as best as we can, but don't fall for the energies. There's going to be such a push to get everybody to take sides and to take arms against each other. And if we remember just how tragic the Civil War was, that was just such a tragedy. You literally had, families taking opposite sides and fighting against each other. And, we can't be pulled into that energy. And they're going to do their best, the dark forces, to pull us into contributing to that chaos, that death and destruction. And it's not good for our souls. It's not good for our being to be pulled into these negative events in that type of way.
No, it's not. And I think that's why the compassion was brought up, because when we look at a situation that we don't like or we don't appreciate or that rubs us the wrong way, I think we need to change our lens and find the vibration, of compassion for that given situation, so that our vibrations are not down. We can always change the lens through the kaleidoscope in which we look, and that's our choice.
And, I had planned yesterday to do a video on the realities of demonic possession, which in many cases is really the same thing as alien abduction. As they attack my throat chakra here.
Right, so I'll let him take a drink and I'll chat for a moment and get our throat. Yeah, they don't like us talking about having compassion and raising vibrations to change timelines.
No, if we pick a side and take arms against each other, then we're just falling into their plans. It's the system that we have to get out of. They're stressing that we need to, as she said, trick the system, get our butts out of the system, circumvent the system as much as possible. Interesting in the book, also, 1900, The Last President, the president that was so, perhaps modeled, perhaps Trump is modeled on him, or he's modeled on Trump, or what have you. But he tries to reestablish an authentic banking system based on silver and gold, silver especially as being commonly traded. But eventually people end up going to bartering and trading. and going to doing things really that we did pre banking cabal. Because think about how the banking cabal controls us. They control us through the monetary system. That's the main way they control us. They do control us through our religions as well, perverting and twisting things so that we end up divided instead of united. But the banking system is such a huge part of it. So getting out of it is a priority. And that's part of what's going to end up happening too, because if you do have different groups breaking off, you won't have the US dollar being it anymore. There might be, whatever these groups take as, whatever it is, if it's the Pacific Union and it's, Washington, Oregon, California, and who knows if anybody else will join that group. Those three do feel like they'll be their own entity. Perhaps the New England states will be their own, as far down as including New Jersey and Delaware and Maryland, maybe. And then you might have, through the center part of the country, another grouping of more red states. Maybe Texas will go its own way, or maybe it'll be part of the red states. It's hard to say how this is going to break up, but I think it is going to break up.
Yeah, it is, slow but sure. It's just a matter of, I think going within the system, and then not like tattling on each other, not being judgmental of each other. And I heard there's these like little spies that will go into companies or businesses and they'll tattle on people who aren't wearing a mask so that these businesses get fined. And that's really horrible. That's really horrible. I think, and I feel like that person thinks that they need to do this. So like, how do we find the compassion for that person so that we're not lowering our vibrations in anger? I think that's what this is about. It's like, okay, so this person thinks they honestly, truly believe that they're doing good. And even though that's some sort of kind of a hard pill to swallow, believing that they think they're doing good is better than being angry.
And, as you guys know, it's not really about anything but spiritual evolution. Ultimately, this is the biggest battle. It's all about stopping our ascension, stopping the move towards unity consciousness, keeping us in a dark age, and not allowing the new era of, unity and brotherhood and sisterhood to evolve. The new era where the warriors of the rainbow come together. And this is, all about that. And so obviously, one of the things that could lower vibrations more than almost anything else is war. And when you think about it, and Cindy's really, I think she's got a great understanding of exactly how they work, because especially at time of death, when it's all fear-based, when it's horror, when it's not like peacefully transitioning to the other side, that could really affect the soul's journey. And it could affect the outcome, because it's all about holding our frequency, holding our vibrations. And, there's reasons why. I had seen in a dream, and I shared, that they were rounding up people and then executing them, much like Nazi Germany did. And there was these two young men that started dancing and singing and laughing right before they were shot. But there's a reason for that, because when we show fear and when we bathe in fear, it pulls us towards the lower astral realms. And so we don't want to go there. We need to rise higher. And, so many of us are light bodies. The ascension process is really in full swing. So we are really going up to all new levels now, at much, much higher levels. And as I shared with you guys, Cindy and I have gotten so busy with helping others. It's been a challenge to make sure we get in a video a day on each channel, just because we have been seeing, as many as half a dozen or more people a day, and working with them. And so many of them are being attacked by these dark forces. So, most definitely there is, quote unquote, demonic warfare, however you want to look at it. There's different terms we could use, and I've brought this up before. We could look at this and we could say, well, that's a Draco. That's a Draco. You might look at it in biblical terms and say, that looks like Satan. And, it is Satan, because Satan's the adversary. That's what it means, the adversary. And most definitely, this is the adversary that we are facing. It's one of them, as well as the other entities that work with that particular non-human form of life, as well as some others that are also used by these beings. So whether we want to call them demons, which comes from the Greek word daemon, which just really means nature spirit, really, whether we want to call it Satan, or we could just say it's the adversary of humanity, it's all labels. But most definitely there are these dark forces that are controlling us and trying to keep us as basically their cattle, their resource, they're slaves. If you look at the Sumerian writings, and that's their mindset towards humanity.
Yeah, they use our thought processes and our society, the way our society is put together, and the way we either accept others or don't accept others. They've found a way to harness that too, and hold our vibrations at a certain level based on what we think of each other, and if we're judgmental or not. So I think it's about stepping back a little bit. Try not to be judgmental, and if you do find it that it's coming up inside of you, turn that lens, look through another perspective to see that situation. Where can you find the love in it? Where can you find the higher vibration in any given situation? And I think that's going to help raise our vibration, which could change the timeline.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many people we've worked with that you see the telltale signs, and they're being tormented. Sometimes they have strange marks on them. Often there's been ritualistic sexual abuse with them, and then you ask them, do you ever have sleep paralysis? Do you ever get sleep paralysis, like this scene from Jupiter Ascending, where she's got sleep paralysis and they're taking her to do whatever, right? And when you start putting it all together, it's a pattern that repeats itself. And I think there's got to be millions, if not hundreds of millions of people that are going through the same things without realizing. Again, if you want to call these little nasty buggers demons, go right ahead. Though I've seen what I would call demons, more dark, energetic blobs. These guys are definitely not nice by any means. And they do view us as just their property. Or you could view it as they're almost looking at us like we're something in the zoo, just for their entertainment and their experiments.
Yeah, it is. We're little experiments, but there is like a karmic issue here where things have to come around and go back to their initial blueprint. And I think we're really, really close to that. I think things are starting to fray. Things are starting to fall apart, as far as the bigger systems go. And we are going to have that initial blueprint of what we were supposed to be. Not interrupted, but what we were supposed to be. It feels like that blueprint is really close.
Yeah, it's very, very close. So, we're going to go into a very, very rough period, and we have to stay rooted, grounded, centered, and not be pulled into the hatred. And it's easier said than done, and it's going to be easier in some places than others. If you are someone that's living out there in the middle of nowhere by yourself, off-grid homesteading, it might not be as bad, but if you're sitting in the middle of New York City or DC or LA or San Fran or Miami or Tampa or Atlanta, Atlanta is just, the things that we have seen there in Portland and Seattle. It's unfortunately, it's not humanity at its best often. And it really is mob rule. And it's unfortunately, it's allowing, so many people are really allowing themselves to be segregated against each other and to allow these dark energies to manipulate them into inhumane acts and things that are, karmically damaging to your soul and damaging to the nation, damaging to the whole world. Most definitely, we need to shed our yoke, but the yoke is the system that we're in, and so that's what we need to work to get out of, in any way that we can.
Yeah, I know that the cabal, they don't really follow any rules, and I think what we need to do, since we do have to deal with this system that we're in, is really follow our hearts and not necessarily look at policies and procedures when we're doing something, but ask ourselves, is this right? Is this right what I'm doing to this person? Is it fair? Is there another way to do this? We don't have to be slaves to the system. It's our choice. It's totally our choice. We can start changing things from within. And I strongly, strongly believe that with your heart, you can make different decisions that will make maybe subtle changes at first, but those will become bigger and bigger changes later.
I see Brother Saduzaman joined us late, but always good to have you. So yeah, most definitely, guys, it's time to pull together, time to realize who the real enemy is. It's not an issue of the color of skin. It's not even an issue of your political persuasion. And those things are being used to manipulate us, to keep us divided, ever in that Tower of Babel. You keep going back to the Tower of Babel. Come, look, humanity is united. Who knows what they could do? They could reach the heavens. They could be just like us. Well, come, let us divide them and let us confuse their language. So it's all right there. And we see, it's divide and conquer, and it's been working. And we are very, very close to the opening shots of a new segment of history that is going to be very, very challenging, to say the least. So again, we need to reach out to each other as much as possible. I do want to thank everybody that supports us on Patreon and also on Ko-Fi. I wanted to also pull this up again, just to share with you guys, because we have a Discord, and a lot of you guys have been communicating on Discord wonderfully, because we got to support each other, and a lot of people just need support. And so, take advantage of it. And here is the address and the invite to join on Discord and speak to the family whenever you need to, and get support from each other, and then work on banding together. There's quite a few up in the Pacific Northwest. There's quite a few in Florida. There's quite a few in California. There's quite a few in Arizona and in Michigan, all over the country, as well as out of the country. We have a lot of family members in Australia. Of course, Australia is, the size of the United States, so it's massive. But at the same time, there are a lot of us all over the place. So, and some are actually, coming together, leaving states to come to a new state and to band together. So there are communities that will be forming, and like Sherry McKinsky, I didn't see her in here today, but she's up in Pennsylvania, and she's always looking for people that would join her and help her, because she actually does have a farm. She just needs more help working it. So, there are those type of situations as well. And so we need to really come together. And, one of the things I would think of too is, are you, at this point in time, really think about where you are. And, I know it could be challenging to pack up and move and I always still get the comments, like when we're doing the Earth Changes videos and we're talking about safe places. There'll always be somebody that says, "Oh, so you think I should just pack up everything and leave and go somewhere else?" And everybody's got their own situation. Only you can make your decision for yourself. So that's up to you. But think about it. Am I where I'm comfortable? Are you somewhere where you feel comfortable and safe? Do you think that you would be with more like-minded people in a different area? I think that's a critical question to ask yourself right now. So if you are a staunch conservative and you find yourself in New York City or you find yourself in California, think about where the laws are going to go if we divide up and these different areas become their own countries. Because obviously there's going to be different ways of handling the lockdown, for instance, because it'll be completely different if you're in, say, Texas or, Alabama than it is going to be in New York City. Completely. So think about where you vibe, where you'd rather be, where you would feel the most comfortable. And right now we might have a very short window to kind of get to where we want to be when it really hits the fan, and we might actually be in absolute lockdown where you can't cross state barriers, where actual states might be at war with each other even. So really, really, take heed of that. And I don't want to spread, fear, but I just feel like this is in the cards. It's been in the cards, and it's hard to see it not manifesting, although we'll work our best to constantly send out the positive energy and vision, and hopefully we could all jump timeline.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot to do. If you're making your bonds where you're at, then that's absolutely wonderful. Keep doing that. But, sometimes it might be time to consider doing something a little bit different, but we're all in unique situations. We have to go within and do what's best for us.
So guys, as always, thank you so much for your support. Stay positive out there, but definitely, be as prepped as possible for all that's coming. We love you guys. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.